Yeah, three of a kind here. Okay.
Yes, three of a kind. Ashrei Yeshvei Veitecha Od Hilucha Selah.
Ashrei Hamshech Lo, Ashrei Hamseder Elohav.
Tehillah LeDavid, Aramincha Elohai HaMelech, V'yachashimcha V'elam Va'ed.
V'chol yom avarchecha, v'lo shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai Himala Me'od, V'mituleto Echecher.
Dor l'dor shabak ma'asecha, v'urasecha yagidu.
Hadar Kavod Hodecha, V'divrei Nivlotecha Sicha.
V'zuzna rasecha yomeru, u'gul asecha asaprena.
Zecher Rav Tuvecha Yebi'u, V'sikatecha Yiranenu.
Chanu v'rachon Adonai, erech apayim v'gol chased.
Tov Adonai Lakol, V'rachamav Lakol Ma'asav.
Yoduch Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yivrachucha.
Kevod Malchutcha Yomeru, Uvuratcha Yidaberu.
Z'hodia lidei adam geruata, v'kavod adar machuso.
Malchutcha Malchut Kol Olamim, Memshatcha B'chol Dor V'dor.
Somech Adonai l'chol hanuflim, v'zokef l'chol hakufim.
Einecha Lecha Yisaberu, V'ata Noten Lahem Et Ochlam Bito.
Noseach es yodecha, masmil l'chol chai ratzon.
Zadik Adonai B'chol Doracha, V'chasi B'chol Ma'asav.
Karov Adonai l'chol karov, l'chol asher yikro b'amas.
Ritzon Yirei Ayasev, Yet Shavatam Yishma V'Yoshem.
Shomer Adonai es kol avo, v'es kol hashanim yashmi.
Tehillah Adonai Yadaber Pi, Barek Kabatzar Shem Kocheli Lam Va'ed.
V'anachnu nevarech yom me'atov yad olam, hallelujah.
V'anachnu nevarech Yamir Tav Yad Olam, Hallelujah. Chatzi Kaddish on 166. Yiskadal Yiskadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamad Divarak Kirite, V'yamlik Machute, V'chayachon, V'yamechon, Chaye Dekol Be Yisrael, V'agala V'zman Karim V'yamru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, V'olam Liomei Omaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitraman, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitala Shemei Dekudashah, Ve'ela Minko V'chata, Shiratav Tushbachata, V'nechamata Damiram V'yama V'yamru. Amen. Yevito 168. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanara El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim B'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Mevi Goel Lifnei B'neihem L'ma'an Shemer B'Yahava Melech Ozer Ufokei U'Moshe Magen Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Abraham Ufokei Sarah
Amen.
Ata Gibor Le'elam Adonai Mechaye Metim Atav Rav L'Hoshia Mashiv HaRuach Marid HaGashem Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed Mechaye Metim B'Rachamim Rabim Zamef Noflim B'Rofeh Cholim Matir Asirim V'Mekayem Emunato L'Shnei Afar Mechamelcha Ba'al Gevurot U'Midu Melach Melech Memit M'Chaye U'Matzniach Yeshua V'Ne'eman Ata L'Chayot Metim Baruch Ata Adonai Mechaye HaMetim.
Amen. נקדש שמך בעולם, כשם שמיים ושמך ושמי מרום, ככתוב עליך וקרא, זה על זה ואמר.
נקדש שמך בעולם, כשם שמיים ושמך ושמי מרום, ככתוב עליך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר.
קדוש, קדוש,
Kadosh, Adonai Tzvaot, Melech Haaretz Kevodo.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebaot, Melocha haaretz kevodo, lo matam barak yameru. Barak Adonai mimkomo, uvrei kachaka katuv lemor. Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitzion, Ledor v'dor, Hallelujah. Ledor v'dor nakiko lecha, Netzach Nizachim, Kedushatecha nakadish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yimush le'olam va'ed. Ki hamelech gadol v'kadosh ata, Baruch ata Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Hello. Let's get rolling. When you can safely do so, go to your Alexa app and add a new device. Please continue at your own pace. We continue with Kaddish Shalom on 194. Yiskadav, Yiskadav, Shemei Rabbah. V'yamad Yivarak Kirite, V'yamlik Machote, V'chayachon, V'yamechon, V'chaye, Dekol Be Yisrael, V'agalav Yisman Karim V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, V'yalav Le'omaya, Yitbarach. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitraman, Yitnase, Dadar, Yitala, Yitala, Shemei, Dekudasha, Rechu, Ve'ela Minko, Bechata, Beshira, Tabtush, Bechata, Benechamata, Demiram, Bi'amal, V'imru. Amen. Tikabao, Samodhon, Uvohon, Dechol Yisrael, Kadam Uvohon, Divashamaya, V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Mim Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol. V'teis gedel aliyakser bereshit. Shalo asanu kegoyei haratzot. Velo samanu kemishpachot hadama. Shalo samchal kenu kohem. V'gor aleinu kecho hamonam. V'anachnu kolim. V'mishtachavim umodim.
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהם את השמיים ואת הארץ. כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Osha. List. Your type list. Jeffrey.
You're going to give me a chance to say it, or? Thank you. We recall our loved ones. Thank you, Randy, so much. We recall our loved ones who are inscribed in our hearts and are in our lives every day and every way. For this day, the 26th of Tishrei, Wednesday, October 14, 2020. The following are listed in our perpetual memorials at Chizuk Amuno Congregation. William Gainsberg, Benjamin Gorfine, Betty Lee Hoffman, Fred Katzner, Samuel Lever, Gilbert Levine, Janie Levy, Hannah Shapiro, Harry Shapiro, Anna Silverman, Eva Solomon, and Solomon Todas. Jeffrey, who else am I missing? I can't hear you if you're muted.
I'm sorry, did you say Maurice's father, Baruch?
Baruch Shamash.
Yes, Baruch Daoud Shamash.
Baruch Daoud Shamash, Zichrono Livracha, we also recall for this day. Your site in Mourner's Kaddish, page 198. Yid Gadal, Vid Kadash, Shemei Rabba, Yamad Yibrach, Yotev, Lechamte, B'chai Echon, B'yomei Echon, B'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, B'agalav, B'zman Kariv, Amen. Yomaya, Barach, V'Shabach, V'Yitpa'al, V'Yitpa'al, It's interesting, we're studying Mishnah Barachot, and you can see, if you look carefully, the formation and canonization of the prayers, their times, their character, their identity, and it is so instructive for me, who studied Mishnah as from the time you could read. And my sense was that when Moshe came down from Mount Sinai, even before, everybody davened Shachris Mincha Mariv. And to be able to see the lines demarking these events and the time that they were instituted is such a wonderful experience of liberation, of being able to read sacred texts and seeing how they were put together to work. Never forget the first time I actually learned to understand how an engine in a car works. Until then, it was a miracle. You sit inside and this thing moves forward. How does it do that? And to be able to see in your mind the injection of fuel and air, the compression, the ignition, the explosion, the turning of the crankshaft, and so on and so on. What happens then is that you become part of the process, which is something that I think our tradition very much wants us to do. Not only to understand the words we read, but to appreciate the power of the people who created these services and gave them to us to get through the night. And it's been a very, very long, dark night. With all that, we are on page 200, and Dr. Miller, if you please. Gary Flax, you don't have Yortzeit, do you?
No Yortzeit.
Okay. Yortzeits have preferences. Dr. Susan Miller, we are at your service. We rise, page 200, V'hu Rachum.
והוא רחום יכפר עוון ולא ישחית, והרבה להשיב אפו, ולא יאיר כל חמתו, אדוני יושיע, המלך יעננו ביום קראנו. ברכו את אדוני
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed.
May be seated.
El Chai v'Kayam Talmidim Loch Aleinu Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Hamari Baravim.
Amen. Ahavat Olam B'Tisrael Amcha Haftat HaMitzvot. משפטים אותם למטה כאן עליהם שווים, כמובן
ואהבתך תציר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהים עמו ישראל.
אמן.
שמע ישראל, אדוני
Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושיתוך ובטח בדרך, ושפטך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך,
אבנה בכם וצאת השמיים ולמטה
למען ירבו ימיכם וימי בניכם על האדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיכם לתת בהם כי השמיים על הארץ.
You will forward the top.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, יעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו. ועשיתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם,
שהוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Maurice,
אלוהיכם אמת.
Maurice Shamash, would you read the English for us on page 205, please, in the middle of 205? We affirm the truth. But you have to unmute yourself. Thank you.
I have a different Siddur, so if I'm reading the wrong one, tell me. We're repeating what we just said, right?
We affirm the truth that he is our God. No, it's the next one.
Oh, okay. We affirm the truth that Adonai alone is our God, and that we are God's people, Israel. God redeems us from the power of kings and delivers us from the hand of all tyrants, bringing judgment upon our oppressors and retribution upon all our mortal enemies, performing wonders beyond understanding and marvels beyond all reckoning. God has maintained us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, guided us to triumph over mighty foes, and exalted our strength over all our enemies, vindicating us with miracles before Pharaoh, with signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. God smote in wrath Egypt's firstborn, brought Israel to lasting freedom, and led them through divided waters as their pursuers sank in the sea. When God's children beheld the divine might, they sang in praise, gladly accepting God's sovereignty. Moses and the people of Israel joyfully sang this song to you.
ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה בני ישראל לחנו שירה, בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם.
מי באלים אדוני,
מי כמוך נטע בקודש, תהילות בוקר יום לפני משה, זה אלינו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל.
Maurice, please continue with Help Us, Our Father. You need to unmute.
Yeah. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace, now and always. Praised are you, Adonai, eternal guardian of your people Israel.
Thank you.
Lord, Seitenu, Voenu l'chaim u'sholom me'ata v'ad olam, Baruch ata Adonai, Shomer amo Yisrael la'ad.
Amen.
Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולמעט תמלוך בכבוד, כי אין לנו מלך אלא אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, Shato Tamidim Loch Aleinu Leolam Vaed.
Amen.
Asa.
Amen. Page 208, we rise, Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadav Yikadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamati Vrach Yerute Vyam Lich Machute B'chayechon of Yamechon of Chayedach Beit Yisrael Bagalav Isman Kari V'Yimru Amen.
Amen. Shmei Rabba Mekorah.
Maya, Maya.
Maya Nira.
Yiparach v'yishtabach, yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalash me'dekudasha pril. Ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tishbachata v'nechamata, damiran b'yama v'yimiru.
Amen. We continue with the Amidah, page 210. We speak directly, silently to God within. Say shalom v'mana, v'yaseh shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael, v'yimaru amen. We continue, when Susan is ready, on 222 Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkadav Yikadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Amen.
ישמע במבורך.
No. Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, Yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalash me'rekudesha b'reu, Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechamata, Damiran v'yama v'yimeru. Amen. Titkabal tzolotahonu va'utahon, D'chol Yisrael, Kadam avuhandi v'shmaya v'imiru.
Amen.
Hey, Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimiru. Amen. Aseh Shalom B'Mrama, B'Ya Aseh Shalom.
Aleinu.
V'Yakol Yisrael V'Yimiru.
Amen. Page 224, Aleinu.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, V'Tei Gvula L'Yotzer B'Reishis, V'lo Asanu Kigoyeh HaRatzot, V'lo Samanu K'mishpachot Ha'adama, Shelo Samcho Kenu Kahem, V'gor Aleinu K'chol Hamonam, V'anachnu Karim, Umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shamayim Yesedat Mekanu. Ulaheinu eno Demokeinu Echazulatu.
Kakotu b'Toratecha, Adonai himloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Thank you, Susan. That was beautiful. But we call our loved ones who are inscribed in our hearts and grace us every day in so many ways. On this day, the 27th of Tishrei, Thursday, October 15, 2020, the following names are listed in our perpetual memorials of Chizuk Amuno: Jerry Benish, Dora Gerber, Joseph Herman, Arthur Laupheimer, Harry Levin, Lena Needell, Isaac Rogers, Anna Scher, and Jeffrey, who else?
And we also remember Bessie Matziover.
Bessie Matziover. Ruthann, you didn't say a word. Now we'll get you for that, don't worry. Bessie Matziover. And Jeffrey, Laupheimer is your family. It's your mother's grandfather. Okay.
It's my father's sister's father. Husband's father.
All right. Well, by tomorrow you'll get it together.
Yeah,
And
I will. But thank you.
Okay. You don't know the Hebrew name of...
No.
Okay.
No.
Is it cemetery.com? I think that's where it is. It's written in stone, Jeffrey. You can find out. We recite with deep hearts, mourners in Yortzeit Kaddish, page 226. And Susan, would you please lead us?
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesh v'lecho min kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata v'nechamata v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom V'Mramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen.
I want to thank you all for being together and having this wonderful experience of Minyan. Before we go, if I could just have a very short moment. Maurice, would you tell us a little bit about your father and Iraq, please? Just briefly.
My father was born in Mosul. There are three large cities. The north one is Mosul, the middle one is Baghdad, and Basra is the south. So he was born in Mosul, and by the age of about 12, he went to Baghdad, and he knew he had to support his father and the family. So he started working. He never finished high school. And he really knew how to deal with things, and he was able to raise his brothers, and he was the oldest, and then brought his father and the whole family to Baghdad, and he succeeded doing business. He had a brother in England, and they were doing import export, and then he did real estate, and we were 9 children, so he raised 9 children, and we were really a pretty known in Baghdad, the Shamash family. Anyway, unfortunately, we lost the oldest brother in 1972 by the Muslims, and finally we tried to encourage my father to leave, and we were leaving one at a time, the children, and I went to Israel, others went directly to England, and some of them came directly to the United States. My father finally went to Greece, and from Greece he went to Israel, and then from Israel we brought him to the United States. And he lived in Massachusetts. He was buried in Springfield, Massachusetts, and he was 84. And I think he had a good life. He raised the 8 of us who left, and we're all doing okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Maurice. What year did you come to Israel?
Me in 1951.
Yeah, I came to Israel in 53, so we were kind of
Yeah.
time neighbors. Anyway, we usually think of European Jews who went through hell by the Holocaust and World War II. Here's a living example of life in the Arab countries. And as Maurice tells us that his father had a good life, I assure you that the pogroms and the terror of the Arab governments, whether Iraqi, Jordanian, Egyptian, Syrian, you were always at the mercy of rulers who could, in a matter of 20 minutes at any day, determine your fate.
I actually was in prison when I was 16 and a half. They came to my house. They came to my house and took me, and I was in a high security prison. And
you're a dangerous man, Maurice.
And I wouldn't have lived, but I lived.
But you lived. Well, stay tuned. There will be more installments. Maurice, please join us more often so we can hear a little bit of the story. Did you ever write it down anywhere?
I am too lazy. My brother wrote a book, but they interviewed me by the Baltimore Museum.
Right.
And
we have the tape of that.
And then the lady that interviewed me wrote 3 pages. And then when she read when I was telling her the story, she was going to stay half an hour. She stayed 2.5 hours, and she said, "Your story should be a movie, not a book."
we'll start with the book and we'll have a television series afterwards. But
We'll make a movie.
Maurice,
We'll make a movie.
it's a story that's wonderful. Thank you so much. We're so eager to hear more. To all of you, please sleep well, stay good, dry, and happy. Tomorrow at 7:30. We thank you. Thank yourself. Be good. Be smart. Laila Tov.
Laila Tov, thank you.